Hello everyone, welcome back to the big classes. So last class we started chapter 8, the first chapter of class 10, and we studied about library classes. And today we'll be continuing with it. So quickly let us start. So last class we started about java.lang package. It is a default package and all the basic functions like math functions, print functions, okay, these are all present inside this package. So there are many classes under this package, but in ICC class 10 syllabus we have only four, that is wrapper class, string, math and system. So today we'll start with the wrapper class. So what is a wrapper class? It is a mechanism, or you can say it is a method to convert, it is a process to convert primitive data type to an object and vice versa. Vice versa means it can also be from an object to primitive data type. So in this table you can see that there are primitive data types and their wrapper class. So here primitive data types we had studied in chapter 3. Okay, byte, short, int, long, these are integer data types, float, double, real data type, char, single character, boolean, to store true and false, you already know. So all these primitive data types has their own wrapper class. And you can see the names are same. Byte, here also it is byte. Short, here is also it is short. Int, here it is a full form integer. Long and long. Float and float. Double and double. Char, the full form character. Boolean and capital B boolean. So here the only difference is, here everything is small letter, here the first letter is capital. Why it is capital? Because these are not keywords, these are classes, but these are keywords. Now these are classes, like string, S capital, it is also a class type data type, right? Now we'll study how to convert this primitive data type to object through the help of a syntax, or how to convert from an object to primitive data type. So let us move forward. So now this is part of wrapper class. We'll study about boxing, auto boxing and unboxing. So what is wrapping or boxing? Boxing is also known as wrapping, or also known as explicit conversion, or also known as explicit conversion. Okay, to convert any primitive data type, to convert any primitive data type into an object. Okay, we are doing what? We are converting primitive data type to an object with the help of wrapper class. Is called boxing or wrapping. Means converting primitive data type to object. Means here, for example, from int to integer, right? From int to integer. Then we'll say it as wrapping or boxing. It is also known as explicit conversion. It is also known as explicit conversion. Okay, but how to do this conversion? For that there is some syntax. Okay, the sentence is written for you and we'll see the syntax. Okay, to do this conversion, that is from primitive data type to an object, we have to create an object or wrapper class using the new operator. So what is the new operator? A new operator helps to create an object. The definition of new operator is it helps to create an object. We'll be using this new in future classes also, in next chapter also, and here we had already used in scanner class, if you remember, scanner x equal to new scanner system.in in class 9, right? This new was already used, but you didn't know what was the meaning actually. Actually it helps to create an object, like in scanner x equal to new, x is the object. Okay, x is the object there. Similarly here also we will be creating objects for the wrapper class, so that we will be able to convert primitive data type to an object. So now we'll understand boxing with an example. So here you can see an example, and here we are trying to convert from primitive data type to an object of wrapper class. Okay, so here the value 100 is stored in a variable k of int. Int is what type? It is an integer data type, right? But now we are trying to store 100 in a new variable. Here we'll say that as an object R of what type? Of integer. It is wrapper class, right? And we are creating an object R. It's just like a variable, an object R. So let us understand in a more better way. So before coming to this conversion of primitive data type to an object, if you can recall chapter 3, we studied about typecasting. Okay, it is similar to typecasting, you can say. It is similar to typecasting. For example, we stored 100 in a variable A of int. Now we want to store in another variable B of byte. So what was the syntax to store from A to B? If you can remember, you are writing like this: byte A. So here what will happen? It will convert from int to byte. 100 was previously stored in A, and now we are doing explicit conversion, right? Here this is explicit typecasting, right? This is explicit typecasting. If you can remember chapter 3. If you're not remembering, please go to chapter 3 and revise it. Typecasting chapter, typecasting part of chapter 3. So here what you are trying to do, you are trying to store 100 in a smaller variable. Int was big, and now we want to accommodate in smaller, that is byte. Int is of 4 bytes, byte is just of 1 byte, and we are trying to store 100 here. So what you have to do? You have to do typecasting, type conversion, explicit conversion. The same thing is kind of happening here, you can say. Okay, only the syntax is little bit different, not much of difference. Okay, just see. Now in this case we have 100, in the variable k, and now we want to store in another variable of type integer. Since integer is a class, this is a class, we'll not say R is a variable, we'll say R as an object. Okay, so what you have to do, you're storing from the value k. Okay, see, here also you are using byte, here also using byte, both sides. So here since you are using integer, we'll also use integer here. The only difference is you are keeping the data type within brackets, but here will not keep the data type within brackets, but the variable within bracket. Okay, just opposite. Here the data type was in bracket, in the next case the variable will be in the bracket, followed by the new keyword. The only new thing is this new keyword, because you are creating an object, you have to write new. Okay, semicolon. So this is the syntax to store an integer value of primitive data type to an integer value of wrapper class type. Okay, similarly, if it is double k, for example, you have stored 10 in A, but now you want to store in an object of wrapper class double, then you have to write D capital double, for example x equal to new. New will help you to create the object x, then again double, and then the variable within bracket A. So here what will happen, 10.0 or 10 will be stored in the object x. Similarly for all types of data types. Okay, so this is called boxing. Another example, here we are not storing the value in a variable, but you are directly keeping this value inside R. Here you previously you stored the value in the variable A, but now what will do, you will do it directly. You will not take a variable, so you will just write double new double, and since there is no variable A, we will directly write the value. 10.0. This is also is an example of boxing. Means 10, automatically Java will think that it is of primitive type double. Okay, of primitive type double automatically. If it is a decimal value, automatically Java will think it is primitive type double. If it is an integer value, Java will automatically think that it is a primitive type int value automatically. So now since it is in primitive type, we have to store in a class type or object in an object. Therefore, we have to use the method of boxing. Okay. So next we'll move to auto boxing, or this is implicit conversion. Okay. Boxing was explicit conversion and auto boxing is implicit conversion. So what is auto boxing? When we assign a primitive value to an object of a wrapper class directly. Okay. Here what we'll do? We'll assign the value to the wrapper class directly. Then it will be known as auto boxing. So here what happens? The compiler will automatically convert the primitive data type to an object. Okay. Here also it is the same thing. Like boxing. Boxing was also converting the primitive data type to an object. Here also it will convert the primitive data type to an object. But we will not be using the new keyword. If you are using the new keyword, we will say it is explicit conversion. If you are not using the new keyword, we will be saying it is implicit conversion or auto boxing. Okay, using the new keyword, it is boxing. Without using the new keyword, it is auto boxing. You can remember like this. Okay, now this automatic conversion of primitive data type to an object of wrapper class, okay, is known as auto boxing, and it is done during the runtime. So let us see an example. So here you can see we have directly kept the value like normally. Normally we write int equal to 100 and you store the value. Similarly here we are using the wrapper class integer object r equal to direct the value 792. And if we write like this, there is, you can see there is no new keyword used here. Okay, no different syntax, we have not used new keyword. So this is called auto boxing. We can also keep the value directly like this. Okay, similarly for all, if you want to store a double value, you will write double r equal to 100.0 and it will store 100.0 in that object r. Okay, directly, and this is called auto boxing. Without using new keyword, auto boxing. With using new keyword, it is boxing. So next we'll study about unboxing. So what is unboxing? When we try to assign the object of a wrapper class to primitive data type. Unboxing is the opposite. Is the opposite one. Now we are keeping the wrapper class object to the primitive data type. We are converting the wrapper class object to the primitive data type. And this, the opposite of boxing is unboxing, you can say. Okay. Unboxing is opposite of boxing. Boxing and auto boxing are same. The only difference is in boxing we are using the keyword new, explicit conversion. In auto boxing we are not using the keyword new and it is implicit conversion. But unboxing is opposite of both boxing and auto boxing. Okay. So here we are converting the object to primitive data type and that will be known as unboxing. Let us see an example. Here see, here 572 was stored in an object r and now we want to store that value of r in k and this will be known as unboxing, and we can store directly like this, int k equal to the object name. Okay, and automatically 572 will be stored in k. Similarly, you can see this is what? This is boxing. Okay, this was boxing. We are keeping the value directly to r using the new keyword. And here, this is an example of auto boxing. We have kept the value directly, implicit conversion. And here, again, unboxing, we are simply keeping the value of r in k. And this will be known as unboxing. If you write like this, for example, I would write like int k equal to 572. It has nothing to do with boxing, unboxing, or auto boxing, right? This is class 9 thing. Here the syntax is primitive data type, variable name equal to object name. Okay, you have to follow this syntax only. You cannot keep a value directly. If you keep a value directly, then this is part of class 9, what we are doing in class 9 also. Just storing a value. It's just storing an integer value. This is not unboxing. Unboxing is, you should follow this syntax, that is data type, variable name equal to object name. Then that will be an example of unboxing. Okay. So now we'll continue with other classes of java.lang, and that is string class. It is not of much importance. You just have to remember there are many under string class. There is string class and string buffer class. You just have to remember the difference. In string class, you can only read the value, and you cannot change the value. Okay, you can only read the value, but you cannot change the value. But in string buffer class, you can both read and write, and you can also change or modify the value. This is, you just have to remember the difference. So string and string buffer, there are two classes under the main class string, and that is, it is only read only, and this is both read and write. You cannot modify the values. Here you can modify the values. We'll not be using these things in the programming part. Okay, you just have to remember the difference if in case it comes in your board exam. And next is math class. In class 9 we studied about all the mathematical functions, right? You have to revise it. It is very important. You will get in your exam. It may be also included in your programming part. So please go through all the math functions. Okay, the math contain all the math functions and also the value of pi. That is 3.141, and it goes on. It is recurring. Okay, so it contains all the mathematical functions we studied in class 9. There are many more mathematical functions in math function, but we have studied in class 9 whatever is in the syllabus of ICSE board. Okay, and it also contains the value of pi. And the last class we'll study is system class. It contains 3 predefined variables, that is in, out, and err. If you remember, we have used this system.in in scanner class. Scanner x equal to new scanner, in within brackets we had written system.in. The system is the class and in is a variable, is a predefined variable, we can say. Similarly, system.out we had studied in chapter 4 of class 9. To print, system.out.print, system.out.println, everything is present in the class system, which is part of the package java.lang. So system class, there is also another, that is err. It is system dot. It is basically works with error, not in our syllabus. So we'll study about in and out, that is system.in. Okay, what it does, it links the variable with the keyboard to receive a value. Means in simple layman word, you can say it helps to take input. It helps to take input from the keyboard. How do you give the input? To the keyboard. I want to give a number. You will type in your keyboard that number. So we can say it is used to take input. Okay. System.out, it helps to print by using the functions print and println. Display. Where do you display the output? In your monitor, in your system screen. Okay, you will display the output in your monitor. It is called the standard output stream of Java. So what is output stream? We'll read in the next part of chapter 8 video. Okay, what is output stream? There is also input stream. We'll study in the next part of our video. And that is in Java, the system.out is called the standard output stream. So next class we'll study about the java.io package. Till then, please revise class 9 about chapter 3, chapter 4, because it is linked with this chapter also in chapter 8. So go through the chapter 3 and chapter 4 clearly, and next class we'll continue with the next part with java.io package. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.